What's up, dude?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good.
Dude, I hadn't seen you. It's been probably, I guess I always get to see you every year at Battle of the Badges.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't hardly ever see you anymore because we're grown. We got two different lives.
Life's busy.
Yeah, but just so people don't, just so I guess tell everyone who you are and what you do before we get started.
Kelby Pearah. I work for DeSoto Parish Sheriff's Office, and I'm the sergeant over the K-9 unit.
Okay. And I've known you, man, I don't know what year I met you. What was your first fight?
It'd be easy to say, but it's probably been 10 plus years.
Yeah.
I've been in the sheriff's office 12, and I started fighting at Battle of Badges early in my sheriff's office career.
So it had to been over 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably have seen each other before that around the fight game.
Yeah.
Just didn't know who each other were.
Right.
And then, of course, that one year you helped me train for Battle of Badges, and then we've kind of just really known each other since then.
Yeah.
So.
And that was fun. That was a good experience. It was cool being there, seeing you do that first fight, and then doing all that stuff, and then you had an MMA fight too, didn't you? Or a couple?
Yeah. So I got into MMA when I was 18.
Okay.
Had a few amateur fights. My last fight was I was 29. I was working for the sheriff's office then. It was one of them deals. We've all had that moment where let's just see if I can do it one more time.
I did.
And of course, my wife was not. She was supportive of it, but afterwards she was like, okay, you did that. That's great. Hey, good job. You're 29. Let's hang it up. And I was like, hey, I'm with you. So
that's when I had my last one too, man. It was the same exact thing. I was like, let me check this box right before I turn 30. And I was like, okay, I don't think I need to do it.
And then you hit
anymore.
30 and you're like, I definitely ain't doing it again.
I don't need to do it again, boy. It's like, that's a young man's sport. You know
it is. Now, I still enjoy training.
Yeah.
You know, you never get over training, but I can train at a 36-year-old pace instead of a 18-year-old pace.
Yeah, and you have a gym.
I do.
Down there.
Yep, in Stonewall. Started North DeSoto Jiu Jitsu. I own it with Mike Braswell, and I have another guy. Our head trainer is now partnership in it, Johnny. He teaches all the classes. What I have learned is there's a big difference in training at a gym and then when you own one. It's like even when I go up there to work out, I laugh all the time about it because I was with Brent Mason forever, and I always picked on him because every time I saw him, he was just sweeping or cleaning. And now that I own a gym, like I will go in there with the mindset of, I got an hour and a half, I'm about to get it, and I'll spend an hour and a half cleaning or sweeping or vacuuming or whatever. So it's totally different when you own it compared to just being a member of one, for sure.
Yeah, people don't realize that. They're like, oh, I want to grow up and have a gym eventually when I quit training or whatever. And it's
man. So I started it with another fella, and man, we were doing good, and kind of the same for him. One day he came to me, he's like, man, I love jiu-jitsu, but this just ain't for me. And I said, it wasn't no hard feelings at all, and he's a great guy. And then a buddy of mine turned me on to Mike Braswell, and I didn't really know Mike at all. And he drove down, and man, we had a great conversation. And I was looking to sell it at first, just because I didn't really know what else to do, because I didn't, I work nights. And he could tell I didn't really want to, so we kind of come up with some good terms. He's like, man, just stay a partner with me, and let's see what we can do with it. And we've grown. It's growing good. Like I said, our main instructor, Johnny, he's great with the kids, good coach. And like I said, it's growing, so I'm glad to see that. I wish I had more time to get in there and do it, but 4 kids and full-time job, it's just tough.
I can imagine, man. No, I get it. I understand. Trust me. I think it is cool, though, that you brought that to that area because it's needed. There's a big wrestling footprint there. Now you got a jiu-jitsu footprint there. And I think if you can get kids in either one of those things early, man, gosh, there's a hell of a difference. It's different. It's different than going like karate or something like that. It's just different.
For sure. Jiu-jitsu is kind of the new karate. When we were young, karate was the thing, and then it kind of turned into taekwondo. And I didn't. None of us really knew the difference. It's just what your buddies were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu was kind of the new fad, but it's also, to me, it's more sustainable.
Well, it's very effective. It's effective in your line of duty.
It 100%.
And then also just being able to defend yourself, but also having the discipline as a young kid.
It is, and it's not that tough on your body. You can teach kids certain things without a lot of harm to the body. You can't teach boxing without getting punched. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get punched in boxing. It's part of it, and And I love boxing. Don't get me wrong. I love that.
I love it. That's my
We've
favorite.
actually started a Monday night Muay Thai class. So we're kind of bringing both of it into it now. Both worlds of it into our gym.
That's awesome, man. No, I love it, man. I just, it's like every time I get that little bug, I go to a fight, I'm like, I'm going to start training again. And then it's like, dude, I get injured or something happened. And we're so big into CrossFit now. It's just like, dude, that's enough. It's keeping me, it's keeping me stretched enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Little minor injuries every day or whatever, but I'm sustaining there.
I'm the same way. You go to the AKA fights, and you're just like, I got one in me.
I know.
And then 2 days later, I did that, so before I did cop work, I was rodeoing for a living, and I did the same thing this summer. I helped out at a rodeo for a friend of mine.
I forgot about that. You rodeo clown, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a bullfighter for professionally for 7 years. I did that for a living.
Oh, man, let's talk about that. How was that?
Probably everything you would think. It was a wild ride. It was fun. It was interesting for sure. I went to college to rodeo. I wanted to be a bull rider. My friends were bull riders, and I thought that was the cool thing to do. And I guess genetically just didn't have it. I was terrible. I couldn't ride a bull to save my life. And in the practice pen, we never had a bullfighter. So that was kind of my out. I was like, I'll fight for y'all. So I didn't have to get on, but still kind of wanted to be a part of the group. And naturally, I was just pretty good at it. And luckily, where I was fighting bulls at in the practice pen was for one of the biggest PBR stock contractors at the time. And our rodeo coach at the college was a professional bullfighter too. And man, I went pretty much straight from the practice pen to the big shows, and I traveled coast to coast and saw things that most small town kids never got to see and experience.
What age did you start in this?
I was 18 when I got my pro card.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time, I was probably one of the youngest professional bullfighters going. Like I said, did it for 7 years. In 2013, I got nominated as one of the top 5 bullfighters in the PRCA, and then I quit.
What made you quit?
It was a totality of things. I had my daughter, Zada, who was handicapped, and I knew that. I didn't know to what extent, but I knew that I needed to be home. And when I started that, I told myself I'd always quit when I got it to the top. I was like, I watched these guys, these greats, keep going past that, and they were remembered as terrible, but at one time in their career, they were great. So I told myself, I was like, I'm never going to be that guy. So I got to Vegas that year, and I was on stage getting that award, and I just wanted to be home. It was deer season, and it was like rut, and I was like, man, I don't even be here. And when you get to that point in any career where it's just not there no more, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had my daughter, and she needed a dad for sure, a dad that would be home, take care of her, and however long that's been since I quit, here we are, 12, 13 years ago.
That's a good reason, man. No, and also, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're, because I mean, you vaguely talked about that, but you didn't.
Yeah, I don't bring it up much.
You didn't let me know the volume or the caliber you were.
Yeah, I don't talk about it much. Not that I'm not proud of it. I did some great things in rodeo. Now, the lifestyle I lived, I definitely wasn't proud of at the time, but I was in my early 20s doing dumb stuff.
I think it's best to get that out the way early instead of carrying it into your 40s.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't a life glorifying to God. And, I'm not proud of that lifestyle, but I am proud of what I accomplished in rodeo. But I'm also proud that I hung it up when I did, because, like I said, it led me into where I'm at now. I didn't know all that going into it, how it would help me in the career that I'm in now. But,
How many close calls did you have? Every single time? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was nonstop. But
yeah.
Like I said, you're 20 years old. Who cares? You don't think. And I feel it now when I get out of bed and sit on the edge of my bed for 10 minutes before I can take off walking. But yeah, man, a lot of hospital visits, a lot of broken bones. But you didn't care at the time. We don't think about our bodies in our 20s.
No, man. And everyone tells you too. They're like, just wait till you're whatever.
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and redo it. I got to fight the circuit finals. Been to Vegas more times than I could remember. And I drove a truck, so I worked too during the rodeo. Like I drove an 18-wheeler, worked for the contractors, fought bulls. I did everything I could. So when I hung it up, there was no question. Like I did everything. I fulfilled that, I guess you could say. I think everybody has chapters in their life, and I just knew that chapter was over.
Yeah.
So
it's just like you said, like a fighter. Like you see those guys that, man, just stop, please stop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
They're the ego won't let it go, or they're in a financial position where they have to because they don't have another option because they hadn't set themselves up. And man, there's so many that aren't remembered as great as they were.
Right.
Like people see them, they're like, oh, they suck. I'm like, dude, you do not understand what these people did for the sport.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and it's tough. It's tough to step away when you're on top. That was one of the toughest decisions I ever had to make. As far as, we let our ego get in the way, and it's like, man, I'm at the top. Like, I don't want to quit, but I knew I needed to, and it kind of worked out. Back then it was one of them good old boy systems where I just called Sheriff Arbuckle at the time and begged him for a job, and he's like, oh, just come talk to me. So, like I said, I knew my daughter we knew there was complications. She was handicapped, and I knew as a dad I needed insurance, and I didn't grow up wanting to be a cop for sure. Like, I didn't have that mindset of my grandpa was a cop, so my dad was a cop, I'm going to be a cop. Most of those guys don't make great cops. Some of them are. There are great cops out there, but if, when you grow up, I didn't grow up playing cops and robbers like G.I. Joe. I wanted to go to the Army and all that, and none of that worked out as far as going to the military because I wound up rodeoing. And anyway, so here we are.
So let's go right straight into police. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it. So how'd you get into that? You said you come back, you quit there.
So I was actually, where was I? I was in Monroe, at a rodeo in Monroe when I got the call that I was getting the job offered to me. And that was the toughest rodeo to fight bulls at, because now I'm like, I can't get hurt. And then it wound up being one of the worst hang-ups that I've seen in my career, where a guy got his spur hung in the rope, and it was not a good the outcome was okay, nobody got hurt, but it was like, you just like looking up, you're like, come on, God, really? Like, I don't need this to happen right now, but I still had a job to do there. And but it worked out great, nobody got hurt. But so that was my last rodeo as a bullfighter, was in Monroe. Came home, went through the process. But again, back then it was a little bit different. Now there's a whole, you got to take tests. They do a PT test. Like the hiring process now is a lot more thorough. Back then it was I had an interview, kind of hand you a box of stuff and keys to a car, and they're like, go find this guy over here. You're going to ride around with him for a little bit. And so, but again, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah, you guys' department has grown significantly since then, and advanced so much too. You guys are, one of the most advanced departments in this area.
For sure.
And I've talked to Jason about it a lot. And yeah, man, I think you have an amazing department. That's why I'm always like excited to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's no doubt we're, in my opinion, for sure the greatest department around here. Everybody's probably gonna say about their own department, but we really do. Luckily I get to travel. So right now in my career, I'm traveling a lot and training canines. And man, you want to talk about, go to some of these small departments and see how it is there. And then you come home and you're like, man, we're blessed. Yeah. Jason the sheriff really takes care of us. He really does, compared to some of these other departments. And these guys are having to buy their own leashes and, stuff that they really need for canine. And it's like, man, I got more leash I know what to do with, because he just buys us everything that we need for our job, so we can be good at it, for sure. And
that's a big hang up too, and that's something that people just don't know. They just they just assume that this individual may be trained to the pinnacle of their abilities, have all the knowledge, and have all the equipment. And 9 times out of 10, that's not the case, especially in a smaller department that doesn't have the funding,
right,
or the power to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or availability, or
Or even the power to pay people good money. Because when you pay people good money, when you're not paying good money, you're not getting the right quality people. It's tough this job is tough enough to go do on its own. You're catching people at the worst part of their life. And, it's not always a fun job. There's things that we do that are fun, and, the public gets to see the chases and the stuff like that. But man, there's so much more stuff that goes into it that people don't see. The everyday, we're staring at death and destruction all day long, and eventually that wears on you. Your wife was a cop, wasn't she? So,
yeah, almost 10 years. Yeah.
Yes, I mean she understands what I'm talking about as far as you can only do it for so long, and you know, most cops don't make it to 5 years, and then less percentage of that makes it to 10, and then, you know, it just gets further and further. But
well, so getting into that, how did it, you know, how did you grow in the department and get into the K9 thing, and how did all that happen?
So in my interview, I remember telling them, I had an interview with, I think it was like all the sergeants, and again, I'm just a kid that had never really had a job, been rodeoing majority of my life. Started rodeoing at 15, did it professionally from 18 to however old I was when I quit, 24 I think. So I didn't have much of an interview, but I remember telling them, like, look, I don't know anything. For one, I don't know anything about policing, but I don't know anything about them police dogs. But if I could ever work towards that, that's what I want to do. Because I grew up hunting, and I've only hunted with dogs. Squirrel dogs, hog dogs, deer dogs. So if I could do this job and ride around with a dog all day, why not? So I started hanging around the K9 handlers then, and really just kind of throwing myself out there at them, like, man, like begging them, like, please let me go lay you a track, or let me go get in the bite suit. Whatever I could do to learn it, I wanted to get involved. So about 6, maybe 7 years ago, the opportunity came up to get in that role, and it was kind of a no-brainer for everybody because I'd made it clear, you know, at the time Sheriff Richardson was my captain, and I think I drove him to the point of crazy by going in there every other day asking if he's ready to buy another dog. I'm sure he got tired of hearing it, but when the opportunity came up, there was no question that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So. Well, so how does that, for people to understand what the role shift there, right? From you go from being on patrol to then shifting to K9, what does that look like? Because a lot of people don't understand.
Chaos.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand what your role is, where you fit in, what your duties are. Like, we can just run through all that if you want to.
So I'll tell you this: if you think you're a good cop, put a dog in your hand, and you'll feel like you forgot everything you've learned. Because I'd been on the department for, I guess, 6 years at the time. I did 4 years on patrol, and then I moved to a direct patrol unit, which was we did more of like a high crimes. We weren't like responding to calls per se as much as like kind of working specialized stuff. So I'd kind of done a little bit of everything. On patrol, I was real proactive. I like traffic stops. I like making arrests. My thing was I really liked to hunt for dope and guns if I could. And then you fall into K9, and it's like, I've got this thing in my hand now that's spinning circles, and I don't know if he wants to eat me or somebody else. And like, you kind of just forget how to be a cop, and you kind of really got to retrain your brain on not only do your job correctly, but now you're responsible for this tool in the department, and it's the only tool in that department that's got its own brain, and now I'm responsible for his brain too. And like, man, when you send that dog, like, you don't get, you know, that's something a dog bite you don't get back. It's kind of like a bullet. Like, when it's there, it's there, and that's my responsibility now. And it's kind of, when you put that into aspect, like, that's heavy. It's like, man, do I really want to do this? And then you start questioning a lot of things, and but I've worked through all that, and you know, here we are. So, I love it.
What do you like? When do you deploy those dogs? Like, what are their roles?
Man, every situation's different. So, like you said about how we grew, man, we have dogs now for just about anything.
Okay, so you have multiple different tiers, I guess.
So, we're one of the only departments around here that I'm aware of for sure. I don't really know of any other department using beagles. So, you know,
what are y'all doing with those?
So, like I said, I grew up hunting with dogs, and me and the other K9 handler, Blake McCoy, we grew up together. We grew up hunting together. So at the time, Blake's no longer with us. His family business just grew too, and he couldn't keep up with both, and he recently just stepped away. But man, it was one of them deals like, you grow up with your best friend hunting with dogs, and then you go into your adult career with your best friend hunting with dogs. And so we kind of pitched the idea off each other, and Blake told me one day, he's like, man, we really need to try some beagles. And we had seen it done before. We go to Angola and train with them some. And a guy that they knew came up and brought some beagles, and it blew our mind. They took somebody and they told this guy, just, hey, take off walking, and they cut them beagles loose, and within minutes, those beagles are sitting at their ankles, and I'm like, holy cow, there's something to this. So we pitched it to our administration, my lieutenant and captain. You know, they heard us out, and they brought it to the sheriff, and, you know how Sheriff Richardson, he's like, shoot, if it works, let's try it. I mean, he's always down to try new things. And we did, and we've got a pack of beagles now that we can use for search and rescue, or we can use them. We made a post not too long ago about the guys on the interstate that bailed, and our beagles tracked them 4 miles, a little over 4 miles. And that's something you're not going to do with a dog on leash.
Yeah, there's no way.
No, so, and that's kind of where we're different. Our dogs on leash, they do track, and they track very well, but they're also dragging me, which wears them down. You can get roughly a mile, maybe a mile and a half out of a big dog, but those beagles, they don't have nobody behind them holding them up. They kind of move at their own free will. They're small. They don't get wore out, so they can go for miles. So, but it allows us to use them for, man, if a kid got lost or, we have elderly people wander off sometimes, and we've had people get lost hunting. You think you know your woods, and you wander off into the dark and get turned around, but we can cut the beagles loose where they were last seen, and usually even if the tracks, we've pushed them up to like 4-hour-old tracks, and they were still able to work it out. So how
many do you run at a time when you run those?
So we swap it up. So training wise, we swap it up. We always do. Real world scenarios, usually just 1, maybe 2. We have one older dog named Clyde. He's, I think, 8, so we usually run him by himself. We have some puppies that just turned a year old this month. They're still in the training phase of it. I would use them on a track if all the stars aligned. I won't use them like on a suspect yet, because it's not that they can't track. I just don't know that they can handle the pressure.
Gotcha.
If you're tracking a bad guy and he decided to do something bad to a dog, as far as, kick at the dog or something, like our older dog Clyde, he won't really get close to you.
Gotcha.
Unless you pull out a can of Viennese.
What's the training like on that though? Like, because it's not like I understand their capabilities and what they're used for, right? Like for hunting, but then for chasing someone that can, oppose them more, I guess. Like, what's that scenario look like?
So our early stage in training with the beagles per se, we use Viennese sausages. That's what they'll track. If you got a can of Viennese and they think you got some Viennese, they will come track you. A beagle has more of a tracking drive itself. They are happy just to get out of the pen and go track. All we have to really teach the beagle is what's target odor, and does that target odor equal reward. So I teach you human odor.
Okay.
Human odor equals reward.
Right.
And when we start that, we started these puppies at I think 8 or 12 weeks old, and it was simply like no wider than this room, stomping out a track with Viennese, like the juice from the Viennese, just putting it on our shoes and stomping out a track and just teaching you, put your nose down, get to the end of it, there's a reward. And then you just build off of that. It's like building a house. You build the foundation, and then you just build off of that and get a little bit further. And then after they've got the concept of tracking, you take the food completely out of it, and now it's just human odor. And then it could be, I remember our first couple tracks were maybe 40 yards, but the decoy track layer was maybe behind a berm or behind a car, where it's not visual, where they can't see the guy, but you have to use your nose, and then when you get to that guy, he's going to give you some Viennese sausage.
Gotcha.
And now, a year later, they're running 1.5 mile tracks.
But when they get to this guy, he's not going to give him anything.
No, we do, because they're still in training.
Right. But saying once you make the switch, what does that look like?
So if you do enough training tracks, the switch won't really matter. Like with Clyde, he'll track, say we have a lost kid that Clyde tracks for 2 miles, and then we find the kid, and Clyde doesn't get his reward right there. It's okay, because tomorrow I'm going to go lay that same track and reward him big and throw a big party at the end of it.
Got you. Okay.
So when they get enough of it, it's not like he'll quit tracking. Now, what worries me with the puppies on a live track for maybe a dangerous suspect is, if he hit a dog or kicked a dog or something like that, would they pair that pain with tracking and shut down because they're so young? They don't have the maturity level to say, that doesn't mean nothing, I'm going to still track tomorrow.
Got you.
So Clyde, who's 8, he's going to track regardless. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you've learned all that working with hunting dogs too, right?
I mean, for sure. So, yeah, learning what I've learned in K9 and training police dogs tied with what I've learned my whole life in hunting dogs is, I guess, made a pretty good product. I would assume people keep calling and asking us to come help them train, so there's got to be something to it.
And so how often are you training with these dogs?
Daily. So right now that is my sole job is I show up to work and we're training dogs. And like I said, I travel a lot. Tuesday I went to Union Parish, helped them. We've been to Mississippi and helped some agencies. Me and a buddy of mine, Brock Bonds, he's a state trooper now, but he's a great dog trainer. We're going to Cambodia next month to train dogs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what other types of dogs are you working with besides, the Beagles are new, I know, but what else?
Patrol dogs. So apprehension type dogs that doing the same thing, tracking, building searches, narcotic searches.
What's that like? 'Cause that's interesting. That's always interests me is the narcotics thing. Like that training, is that completely different?
Totally
than tracking?
different.
Okay, what does that look like?
So you're working in different drives. When I set up like dope work or narcotic work or odor work for the dog, it's everything to the dog is fun. They just got to have an understanding of what I'm asking them to do. So like my K9 now, Karen, depending on the picture I show her, if I take her to a vehicle and I sit her in front of the headlight, she knows that's her marker to know that we're about to hunt for an odor that equals a reward with a ball, which would be dope work.
Okay. So you attach those to different rewards?
Yeah, for sure. Scenarios. So me personally, I do like a variable reward system. I think dogs are like gamblers. They're always looking for something new. So if you keep the dog guessing, they'll always work harder. But as far as like markers that we instill in the dog, which would be you sit in front of the headlight, you have an understanding what we're doing now. So her brain has already clicked over that I need to shut my mouth, use my nose, find an odor, and it will equal a reward, which for her is usually a ball. Sometimes it's food, or sometimes it's just verbal praise. Now, another picture she has seen is if we were 20 feet from the car and the window's down and I'm now screaming like I'm talking to a suspect of, hey man, show me your hands. She has clicked over to know that there's probably a target in that car, and we're not doing dope work. We're in apprehension work. So they learn that, in the moment, how I'm doing things is what she's going to respond to. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So an apprehensive dog that you're using that for, are their noses equivalent or less than a beagle? Like, what does that look like?
Man, all their noses are the same at the end of the day. All dogs.
Because people always say this bloodhound's better than this or whatever, But
no, and that's going to be opinionated. But if you look at the olfactory receptors, they all have about the same amount.
Okay.
They claim that bloodhounds' ears help wave the odor in front of their nose more. I just think bloodhounds because I have a bloodhound that I use for deer tracking, and he's great. He's phenomenal. But he doesn't track deer no better than Karen tracks people.
Got you.
Only it's a different pace. He's a little bit slower and more methodical because he's not chasing something to put teeth on it. Mm-hmm. She is tracking for a reward. He is tracking simply because he wants to go track.
So let me ask you this. Your dog lives with you?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? Because at some point, and I'm just asking because I'm trying to understand how does it work for them? When do they know their work? And then this is chill time, and can you be over affectionate with the dog and still how does that work?
So again, that's all going to be opinionated on who you talk to.
Well, I guess what's your
my opinion is if you take this dog home and you make him comfortable at home and the couch becomes more important than work, your quality of dog will go down.
That was kind of my point.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's my thought, but that's my first thought is are they going to become soft? You know what I mean?
They can, for sure. There are dogs that can turn it on and turn it off, but at the end of the day, this is a police dog. This is not if you want a pet, go buy a pet.
Yeah.
If you want to get into K9, you need to know this is a tool. This dog is used for certain things. And if you soften that dog up and you lower those drives, it's going to show when it's time to show it. Everybody's going to know he ain't been doing what he's supposed to do with his dog.
Yeah.
Sheriff Richardson has built us some really nice big kennels, and my dog is either in that kennel or in my car. So she doesn't have the temperament to come around my family, and I'm okay with that. Like I didn't get her to be a pet.
That's exactly.
So,
and that's the big misconception I think I really wanted to outline. I guess now that we're talking about it, I'm starting thinking, what are all my thoughts? What are my questions here? Like, so like when you get people saying like, oh, I can't believe your dog never gets to hang, like stuff like that. I'm sure there's scenarios there.
Yeah, I bet if they came to my house and walked up to her pen, they'd be like, okay, I don't want to hang out with her either.
Right.
Like, she's a working dog. She knows that's what she is. That is her job. And she loves what she does. Absolutely. She doesn't care to be petted. She doesn't care if I talk to her in a high-pitched voice and tell her good girl. She gets out of that car looking for work. And that's we get these dogs out of Europe, and that's just how they're bred over there. I mean, their bloodlines are so pure, and they breed this working breed into them, and that's why you don't see many police dogs that are bred in America, because Americans have softened
them up,
working dogs.
That was the next question. Like, people don't understand how expensive these dogs are too. Like,
yeah, they're not cheap.
I don't know the price. I'm not asking the price, but I just know they're not cheap.
Man, it depends on where you go. I've made some phone calls to California, and just because I was curious, and man, I want to say as crazy as like 50 or 60,000 for a patrol dog. Typically around here, they're going to be 15 to 20, but it really just depends on the area you're in.
And what breeds are like kind of where you guys are focused at now? Like, what breeds are you running? Because I know people have German Shepherds, and you have what are the other ones?
So you got German Shepherds, Dutch Shepherd, and Belgian Malinois.
Yeah, Belgian Malinois.
That's your three most popular. There are some other ones. There's some. I've seen people use giant schnauzers. Not often.
That's interesting.
Man, I actually tried to. The sheriff was on board with it. I was like, man, let's try something new. And the vendor we use, man, he really did try to find one, but they're just to find one that will actually. So again, that's what people get misconception of. Just because you got a dog that'll go bite a bite suit and looks like this big scary dog may not have the right genetics to actually be a police dog. So we got to think about, when I go select a dog, we go test them. And we test a bunch of dogs, and we go off drives and genetics, and I don't care what the color of the dog is. I don't go pick a dog by the breed. I go select the best dog that I think is fit for us. And man, when we're asking a dog, what we're asking a dog to do is a lot. If you think about it, let's say 150 years ago, however long ago it was, where we decided that dogs needed to live with people, what's the one thing they had to do? Just don't eat my kids and you can hang out with us.
Yeah.
So we have bred these genetics of don't be mean to people out of them so far. And then somewhere along the line, somebody said, well, man, we can use them for certain things. So in a grand scheme of things, we have took this dog, we've said, don't eat people, don't bite people, and you can hang out with us. To now it's, well, I kind of need you to be aggressive, but only to like 1% of people. On top of that, I need you to quit being aggressive when I tell you to, and listen to me. So we're asking a lot out of this animal that over 100 years has been bred to say, don't do that.
Yeah, and thousands of years before that, there were wolves. They just
for sure.
It's insane, like, to think that. Well, what does that mentality look like? Because I'm sure the pack mentality completely is disassociated with these animals too, right? So, like, do they work well with other dogs? Like, how does that work?
It's all going to be dependent on the dog.
Okay.
Man, again, every dog is different, and they're just like people. Like, I've got 2 Dutch Shepherds at my house that are 2 totally different people. Me and you are 2 white males, but we're totally different.
Yeah,
you know
sense.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So just because a dog is a European-bred Dutch Shepherd doesn't mean it's going to have the same drives and genetics as another European-bred Dutch Shepherd. My male dog at the house, who I made the mistake of turning into a family pet, and he's a couch potato now, and it's good now because he's retired and he hangs out with my kids. They crawl all over him. He's no harm, no foul. He's great as a pet. We did have some issues in police work with him. He failed me a couple times on engagements because I did. That's why I'm so hard on.
So you've played both sides of the field then.
100%.
So then you can speak on this and 100% be honest.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's even better.
I learned from my own failures.
Okay.
A lot of my dog training comes from my own failures. Man, I show up every day at work looking for failures. Because, there's no such thing as a 100% dog. And we get them to about 80%, and we spend the rest of our career chasing that 20%. They're never fully finished. I think people don't ask enough out of these dogs. I think they're so much more capable than what we ask out of them. Because it shows if you look at some of these dog breeders or dog trainers and seeing what they're doing with dogs, it's just because they've spent more time with it. It's not that their dog's any better than your dog. They just spent the time to do it. So I'm tough on myself with that. Like, I come to work every day trying to figure these dogs out and push them to limits that, nobody else is trying to do. So,
do you have different markers, like in training? It's almost like, when you get promoted from this to that, to whatever, there are different markers for these dogs. Like after they meet certain milestones, they get upgraded to this, or what does that look like?
Yeah, you're always trying to build the dog for sure. As far as like when I get a brand new dog, when these dogs come over here from Europe, they don't know anything other than they can bite a bite suit. And it kind of goes back. So the vendor we use, his name is Steve O. Henderson. He's a little bit black guy out of California. Cool as a box fan. I mean, he's good as gold. He owns 10-8 K9. He trained my original dog at a different vendor. He was working for them. He trained my dog, and then we've kind of just stayed friends over the years. And then we got into buying dogs, and we still shop around. I will never say that I'm tied to one vendor. So, man, we'll shop around. But I always wind up back at his doorstep because he's the only vendor I know that is actually going to Europe and selecting his own dogs to bring back. And he's just as passionate, if not more passionate, than I am about it. Where he's really great is he builds a really firm foundation. So when I get the dog, it's already got the foundation work in it, and then I can turn it into a police dog.
Got you.
So from day one, they land here in America. They know much of nothing. Steve-O spends probably, if I go to him and I select a dog, and I like to select them when they first get here in America, because I don't want to see problems that he's had to fix. I want to see the true dog, the true genetics of this dog, and I will go test it. Usually me and Brock will go together, and you can't help it. I've had 3 Dutch Shepherds in our department, so if I get over there, the first Dutch Shepherd I see, I'm gonna be like, ooh.
Yeah.
And Brock may be like, all right, now you know better. So I mean, we kind of feed off each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The selection process is it's not just me. I try to bring somebody else who's real knowledgeable with dogs, and he does the same thing when he was selecting dogs. We'd all go together that way. He can slap me around, or I can slap him around and be like, no, you want that dog because he looks like your old dog, type thing. So anyways, when they get here, they're just solely biting a bite suit, and we have to break that down of getting them off equipment, which will be the suits, the sleeves, and then by the end of it, it's you should have a dog that is willing to go put teeth on skin, which is, again, we're asking a lot of a dog to do that. And a lot of dogs, when they do that for the first time, it's very confusing to them, and they check out. So, because now they've went from all that to they're actually biting something that's squishy and wet and slippery, and it's just, but if you do the right training and build the right foundations, you don't have those issues. So again, first dog I learned out of my own failures, to where now I have Karen, who has never had that issue. She has always engaged when I needed her to.
What's the I guess the most impressive or the craziest thing you've seen, like just of capabilities, like from a capability standpoint? Or most impressive, or just
I guess
blew your mind. Like, I'm sure you've seen quite a few, but
I don't know. It really depends on what I'm looking at, I guess. I've seen those dogs climb ladders and walk on tight ropes, and I always thought that was awesome. But would I ever do that? No.
Yeah. In the field,
I think the most impressive to me thing with a police dog is their ability to push through limits. These dogs will literally work themselves to death. Like I've seen dogs work themselves into a heat exhaustion and dang near die. And to me, that drive is what it's like, man, how do I not go behind that? They're willing to do whatever it takes to do the job. And, I got to give that to them. That's probably the most impressive. Not just any one dog, but just their ability to do the job and what they're willing to go through.
What's the protocol like? And not everyone's yours. Like when you say how often are you using them? I guess they would call you. I'm trying to figure out the scenarios, right? Just so people understand. Like, when are you called? Like traffic stop. What does that look like? At what point do you get called?
Basically, like if somebody refused Okay. If an officer has built enough reasonable suspicion to say, I think there's more to it than just he ran a stop sign, and through their interview process, they've determined there could be something illegal in the car, and they've worked that all the way up to the point of asking for consent to search, and that driver says, no, you ain't searching my car. At that point, I can bring my dog in and do what we call a free air sniff of the vehicle. And then if she alerts to the odor of narcotics coming from inside the vehicle, that gives them probable cause to search it.
Got you. And so from that, where is there any point where, okay, I guess retrieval, like what does that look like? When do they call you for that?
Retrieval.
Or like catching someone?
Man, and so that's where it's kind of all different. You know, you kind of got to go by Connor versus Graham on that. Like there's 3 prongs to Connor versus Graham of, you know, like the severity of the crime, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to what we call the 4th prong of Graham and Canine is, do all those things add up to justify using the full force of the dog?
Okay.
And it's for instance, typical scenario, if I showed up to a domestic and said boyfriend has run off into the woods in the back, and it isn't that big of a deal, he may have put hands on her, but not to the point of being like a felony type charge. And I get there and this female says, I don't have no family. I have nowhere to go. I don't know what to do. It's just me and my kids. I'm probably going to use my dog because a dog is, first off, officer safety and then a locating tool. I'm probably going to try to use my dog to find that guy. Vice versa, same house, same scenario, same boyfriend, girlfriend. I get there and she's packing a bag and she's like, I'm going to go stay with my mom 2 hours in Monroe. And we know who the guy is. We'll probably just wind up getting a warrant on him.
Gotcha.
Being that it was a misdemeanor
Gotcha.
type deal. Same thing with felonies. You know, a lot of people get under the misconception of if it's a felony, you can use your dog, and that's just not the case. It's what happened, how did it happen. There's so much that builds up to it because, like I said, man, the dogs they're a locating tool, but when they find what they located, depending on whether you give up or not is what happens after that. And you know, it is a level of use of force that's up there. I mean, I
don't think people understand the capabilities of them either. Like, it's insane, man. Like, just all the videos I've seen.
But you know, what people don't understand, too, is they're one of the safest tools that we have in law enforcement. There's been more people die from tasers than dog bites. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you the number. I used to know it, but I think from like 1894.
We can figure it up. We can look it up right now. Let's look it up. What's the...
How many people have died from police canine...
Dog bites?
Yeah, I guess bites.
Or just from police canine interaction?
Canines.
Or just directly?
I've looked it up before. It's not much, and most of them were from infections that they just didn't take care of.
We had to pull a screen up too, Josh. It's not up. Or you can just give me the number. Is it? Oh, well.
I can't remember how I looked it up that one time.
It's okay. Just sometimes when we have those metrics, I'm like, let me see if we can find out real quick. You know, just to put, but we'll figure it out.
It was a lot less than tasers or like batons, blunt force trauma.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got to think. Well, taser, or you hold it there long enough, or it's the wrong person, or
you don't know if that person has a pacemaker or a heart condition or something like that.
And then same thing with baton. You got the wrong.
But it also goes back into training. Like when I train my dog, we don't train thrashing and what we call hucklebucking. Like, I want as minimal damage as possible. The dog is there to bite and hold until we can get compliance and get the suspect into custody safely. So we have methods of training where, like, if a dog is thrashing, there's a lot of damage that can be done in that. And we veer from that a lot. Like, most of my dog bites, when it's all said and done, you can go back and count each tooth because we teach a bite and hold.
So, like, most people's reaction to that, I'm sure is just stopping. Like, I mean, it's not, they're not.
Man, it's all different. Everybody saw the video on Facebook where the guy went to punching my dog.
I didn't see that. What happened?
You hadn't seen that?
No.
Can you pull that one up?
Yeah, he definitely can pull.
It's on our sheriff's office Facebook page.
Yeah, pull up DPSO and then bring that TV up for me if you don't mind. We'll find that. When he finds it, we'll look at it.
So that kind of goes back in what we're talking about deployments, like everything that led up to this.
So what happened? Can you talk about it? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's all on Facebook. I got the phone call. It's like 4:30 when they called me. I'm in bed asleep, which is about how most of it happens, you know.
4:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm never at work when something happens.
Yeah.
It's just how it works out.
Nature of the business.
Yeah. I get the phone call that they always call me when they're in pursuit, because that usually leads to something like this where they either barricaded inside the vehicle or they have bailed out in the woods, and the quicker I can get there, the better. So they call me. I'm headed to them. I heard them say they disabled the vehicle, but they wanted me still en route. I get there, and it's obvious the guy's amped on some kind of narcotic. And for us, he's
looking for it.
That was another one. If you scroll up, that was another. You can see us walking the guy out of the woods. We got called to Natchitoches on that one. That guy had been.
I did see that the other day.
Yeah, you'll see our helicopter fly over.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like 200 yards behind him trying to catch my breath because I sprinted like 300 yards to catch that guy, and I thought I was going to die.
How far is this other one off? Has it been a little while?
No, it's fairly recent, which I don't know how much I don't have social media, so I don't know how much they post.
We'll find it. But yeah, you were saying, so what happened with him?
Which one?
The guy we were talking about.
He had actually traveled into oncoming traffic the wrong way.
In the vehicle?
On I-49. Yeah. So they dysfunctioned the vehicle by hitting the vehicle, making him spin out. Call it a ramming. We rammed the vehicle to off the road, basically.
And this is I-49, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So this is kind of where the officer, where he pulls up. They were actually headed to a pretty bad crash just south of there. The sergeant on duty, I believe, passed this car, and she radioed in like, hey, there may be another crash. So this deputy's just walking up thinking this guy crashed. And when he walks up, this guy is fully unclothed and talking out of his mind.
Okay.
So, and you got to give it to the deputy. I don't know, can you turn it up where you can hear it?
Can you roll the window down?
Like, this deputy stays calm, like, because it's one of them deals like, this guy gets
Hi,
out.
sir.
You ain't gonna fight him. He's amped up on something. So this guy stays, his name's Danny Miller. He stays really calm and collective throughout this whole process.
What happened? Are you okay? Are you good?
Do you want another one? Mother, you don't talk to me like that, man. Look at me.
I didn't talk to you any type of way.
You fucked me up, dude.
Who did? 218 son, I went to another unit.
All the gap. All the way.
He's completely naked.
Shit. Back me.
And he takes off.
Before he's moving, he's going northbound and southbound lane. He's moving.
Okay, you can turn that audio back down, Josh, and then just walk me through the rest of it. So, we'll keep watching it, but
so they get behind him. And man, so you see oncoming traffic. You're talking about I-49, and where we're at is pitch black dark. So it's not like when you're in Shreveport where there's street lights.
They're in oncoming traffic too. Pursuing
Yeah.
Holy heck, okay.
So you see the headlights of people coming. It's
Gosh, man.
It's super dangerous.
These vehicles are going 75, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, and again, it's 4:30 in the morning. If you were 4:30 in the morning trying to wake up, trying to get to a job, and you see that, you're like, what? And you don't even think it's in your lane.
Yeah.
So it's super dangerous.
Dude, he's hauling ass too.
Yeah. So you'll see right here, they actually got another deputy to go up there and stop I-49.
Okay. And whoever does your guys' social media is great too.
Mark Parish.
I told Jason this a while back, but they do a great job of just getting information out there. Okay, so they got him pinned in right here.
Yep. Yeah, the vehicle is disabled completely. He can't go nowhere.
At this time, have they already called you?
Hands
Oh, yeah.
up!
Okay.
Yeah,
Hands in the
I'm
air!
about to pull up.
Hands up!
Yeah.
Unlock your car, Danny.
Yeah. There you go.
So they're giving him all kind of commands to get out of the car. He just ain't. And it's not safe for us, even though he's quote unquote naked, like it's still not safe for us to walk up. Because, I mean, this guy's obviously amped up on something.
Yeah, there's no telling what he has in there.
And
you can't see.
But what do I have? I got a gun on me, so my gun is just as much as his gun. If he overpowers or, and the last thing I want to do is, so there's my dog right there.
Okay. And at this point, she's ready. She knows what her job is.
Yeah, so what you can't see in the video because they have to make short clips of it. So I just sent her through the window.
Yeah.
So she's got him apprehended on the arm right now, but watch. This goes back to drives and genetics. He's punching her in the side of the head right there.
He probably can't feel it.
He did the next day.
Oh, I bet.
So they tased him a couple times.
Dude, he's still
moving. And then
moving.
we used her to drag him out of the vehicle.
Dude, he's still moving after she had a hold of his arm and the tase.
It got to the point where EMS had to, like, whatever they do they put something in him to calm him down. I've dealt with another guy like this previous in my career. And I think it wound up being like PCP or something that he was on, but it was along the same effects where it's just they don't feel anything.
That's insane, man.
And that's what I'm saying, like,
it may not remember anything either.
No, and that's why I give props to the deputy that went up there. If he would have went up there with an attitude and that guy got out and had to fight him, it would have went way different.
Yeah.
For either one of them.
A lot worse scenario for everybody.
Yeah, it could have been fatal for the deputy too. I mean, that guy. Back to jiu-jitsu, there's one way you can stop that guy, and that would be take the blood from his brain.
Yeah.
And unless you train jiu-jitsu, you don't know how to do that.
Yeah. That's the only way you're going to stop him without lethal force.
Right. And that is considered lethal force in law enforcement. Is you got to be able to justify lethal force to be able to put a vascular restraint on them. So
okay.
Yeah, so you can't just go straight to that either.
Right.
So I mean, again, and let's be honest, nobody wants to fight a naked man. So I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
gosh, man, that's crazy.
So I give props to Danny for staying calm and not being like, "Hey, man, if he would have amped it up and that guy get out and he's got no backup, and our parish backup could be 10 minutes from you. 10 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a long time.
A lot can happen.
10 seconds
in 10 minutes.
is a long time in that industry, man. That's a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one of our most recent where, again, he had drawn in oncoming traffic. The safest thing for us to do is deploy the dog and then use the dog to extract him out of the vehicle.
Yeah. Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked for sure, and everybody went home safe. So
yeah.
As far as like deployments, that's what I have to look at. Is this the safest way to do it?
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, that gives me a lot of insight, and I'll that definitely let everyone watch that too when we're talking about it, because they'll be able to see at that point.
Oh, okay.
But well, yeah, man. So all of that, I mean, that was kind of what I want to do, is like shed light on this piece of this industry, because I've had multiple law enforcement officers on here from SWAT to military law enforcement to just all from multiple sheriffs, and
right.
But I've never really got to talk about this topic, and me knowing you too, it's just cool to kind of understand this more, because I don't know,
right?
And if I'm always looking for information like this and I don't know, most of these people listening damn sure don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. And one thing about K9 too, like and like your SWAT guys, your sheriffs, and everybody else that does every other kind of job, they can go home and turn that off. When I still got to go home, I got to feed this thing, I got to take care of it, I got to keep her alive. Like, there's so much. Dude, I got home, it was a couple months ago, I got home and realized one of my leashes was shorter. And then turns out she ate 30 foot of it. So now when I thought I was about to go home and eat dinner, I'm rushing her to the emergency vet to get this leash out of it. It's just, the K9 life is a whole different lifestyle, and it's not just my lifestyle. It's a whole family affair. Like, I got to give shout out to my wife, bro. When I tell you my wife is awesome, when I get a phone call in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning, that one, while I'm getting dressed, she's loading my dog and putting her collar on her and her vest on her and got me ready to go.
That's what I'm talking about.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, all that's important too, because, I mean, look at the caliber. You never know what you're.
I never know. And that's a
vehicle.
Dog, again, that's when we kind of go back to like markers and trainings of things. And that is a dog that nobody can touch. But from day one, my wife started with just going out there and just being around her for a minute, to the point of we've trained that into her where my wife can handle her. Because what if I got hurt and somebody's got to bring her home? Now my wife can get her out of the car and there's no conflict there.
Yeah.
So every day at home, my wife handles that dog to and from my car. And she does that out of her own free will just to be able to help me. So.
Well, that's amazing. That's one more thing. Well, man, dude, I didn't know we were going to talk about so much. Like, look, there's a lot of information. It's great. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it. Anything else you want to hit on, or anything you want to talk about before we wrap this thing up?
I don't know. I mean, we're growing as a department for sure. We're doing something that I don't think anybody else is doing. Like, a lot of departments have dogs, and then they either have drones or they may have a helicopter. we're the only ones that have put all three of these things together and built this type of like
it's gotta be like
tracking people, basically.
Like a recovery task force or something, man.
100%. So that's what we're moving to, is where all we're going to be doing is when if you need somebody to be found, call us. We're coming. And the sheriff is all about sending us. When all this kicked off, I asked my captain. I was just curious. I was like, man, how far is too far if somebody calls? He's like, you don't worry about that. If you go too far, I'll let you know. So, man, they've been 100% supportive of us trying to build this into something great. And, you know, we're here lately, we've been really successful. You know, we don't put all the videos on Facebook, but usually other departments make a post about us, like that one where we're just in Natchitoches. That guy had left a day and a half before we got there, and the helicopter actually located him, and he was walking back up towards the house. I thought he was like, saw the helicopters and the drones and just knew the gig was up. So when I seen him, he's like 200 yards away. I hollered like, hey man, show me your hands. Well, he took off running, and I was like, oh crap, he's not giving up here.
Here we go.
Oh crap. Like, there I go for, I shouldn't have been guessing that he was giving up. I just figured he'd have kept walking to us anyways. That one winded up where I used Karen to track him, because Clyde, we'd already put Clyde up because the helicopter had located him, so we just thought it was going to be an easy gig. And then, you know, 5 minutes down the road, we're in a, you know, sprint for our life trying to catch this guy. So anyways, it's always something new and interesting for sure. But yeah, it's kind of where we're at. It's just we're building something that I don't think anybody else is doing, and we're trying to be the best at it for sure. So
I think y'all got it, bro. I'm happy for y'all, man. I mean,
well, it comes from good leadership. I'll say that. Like when it trickles down from the sheriff to our chief. When she became our chief, she called and she was like, I want to come to canine training. And this is a female now, nothing against females, but like, she'd never been around dogs. She'll tell you, like, she sat us down. She's like, I don't know your job. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I know your job, but I'm gonna do whatever I can do to make you better at your job. She's like, so I want to learn. So like, she showed up to training. She laid like a 2-mile track in the woods with us. She got in the bite suit and took bites from the dogs, and like that type of leadership is, and like I said, it goes all the way down to my captain, my lieutenant, straight to me. I mean, we have so much positive support that it's unreal.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, man.
Yeah.
And having a great team, a great leader, and then good support in the community. You know, all the things.
100%. The community supports us. Man, we're really blessed where we are. And then, like I said, from my wife, I get all the support at home, and my in-laws live next to me. My parents are right down the road, so it's like when I get called out, it's
everyone knows.
Everybody put your pants on.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's what they say, it takes a tribe or whatever, or it really, or a village, like it really does.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool, man. Well, look, I appreciate it, and I think it's a lot of good info, and I'm just excited you should come in, bro.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I did bring you something.
What
I did.
What is that? Looky there.
See, I looked at some podcasts before I come on here because I said I don't do social media, and I know they always give away stuff. So I'm going to bring you a coin.
That. That's nice, bro. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. Well, shout out, bro. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.